8859, the carry forward of the District of Columbia first-time home buyer credit. So this was a home buyer credit that was one of several that were available to first-time home buyers during the Great Recession. And part of this was because we were in a recessionary environment where people really couldn't afford to buy houses. So, and as a result, housing values plummeted pretty much across the country. So, in the District of Columbia, there was a tax credit of up to $5,000, $2,500 for married taxpayers filing separate returns, or if the purchase price was smaller than up to the purchase price of the home. So if you were eligible for that tax credit, you would have that $5,000 available, except it was subject to a limitation based on your tax liability. So even though this tax credit was made no longer available after 2011, there are still taxpayers that have continued to carry forward this home buyer credit year after year, and until they find a time when they can actually take that credit. Obviously, there aren't as many of those taxpayers around today, but they do exist. So we're going to walk through this tax form. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to start with making sure the taxpayer's information at the top reflects that of the tax return. You probably would already have access to software that will generate this information for you. So in line one, we're pretending that our hero John Doe still has the full $5,000 credit carry forward from the previous tax year. So basically, he would just find that information from line 4 of the previous year's 8859. And then probably the most difficult step really is calculating the limitation based on your tax liability. So on the same page as this tax form is the tax liability limit worksheet in the form instructions. So simply put, we compare the tax liability from the tax return before any credits are applied. And then we calculate all of the applicable non-refundable tax credits that take precedence before this first-time DC first-time home buyer tax credit. So, and then because we simply subtract that from the tax liability. If there's still a tax liability after taking all of these other credits, then sure, you can use this to offset the rest of the tax liability. But what you cannot do is you cannot make your tax liability less than zero. That is the purpose of a refundable credit. For example, like the earned income credit is a refundable credit. There are several other either fully refundable tax credits or partially refundable tax credits, and we'll go through a lot of these tax credits here. So in this situation, we take John Doe's tax liability, it's $15,000, and then I'll go through all of these forms. If you're not familiar with these forms, we'll put links to each of these forms where we've created articles and videos for each of these forms. Most of them are also captured in Schedule 3, so negative Form 8978 adjustment, that's for partners filing a tax return from a partnership. Foreign tax credit, which is from IRS Form 1116, reported on Schedule 3. The dependent for child and the credit for child and dependent care services, again from Schedule 3. The credit for the elderly or the disabled off of Schedule R. Non-refundable education credits from Schedule 3, Line 3. The retirement savings contributions credit from IRS Form 1040, Schedule 3. The energy efficient home improvement credit from IRS Form 5695. The alternative motor vehicle credit from IRS Form 8910, the qualified plug-in electric drive motor vehicle credit from IRS Form 8936, the child tax credit and the credit for other dependents from line 19 of your Form 1040. Although, if you had to complete the credit limit worksheet B in Schedule 8812, you would use the line 14 number for that instead of your line 19 number from your tax return. The mortgage interest credit from IRS Form 8396, and finally the adoption credit as applicable from IRS Form 8839. So all of those tax credits would be applied to reducing your tax liability before this one. So if you still have a tax liability after all of those credits are applied, then you can take the remaining amount as part of this credit. So in this situation, John Doe's tax bill is $15,000. He added up all of those credits, and that's $14,000. So the difference is $1,000, which he can then claim up here. So he's able to claim $1,000. He takes a credit in line 3, which is the smaller of either line 1 or line 2. So he puts $1,000 here. And then his credit carry forward to the future tax year is simply calculated by taking the $1,000 credit, applying it against the $5,000 carry forward from the previous year. And so he has $4,000 that he can carry forward into a future tax year. So this tax credit doesn't expire, it just kind of keeps going down the road. And obviously it could take some time because there are a lot of tax credits that might take precedent before that tax credit. So keep in mind that you should only include in the total in this line 2 of the line 2 worksheet any tax credits that were allowed and taken on your tax return. So not all credits or adjustments are available for all years or for all filers, so you really have to pay attention to that. And this should be not a line 3 should not be a negative number. It should be 0. But it might be a negative number, in which case you would still enter 0 because you can't take any of the credit in this current year, and then you just carry the whole thing forward to the next tax year. So as I said, this is a pretty straightforward, simple tax form. It's got 4 lines. It's got a tax limit liability worksheet. If you're not familiar with any of these other tax credits or adjustments, we'll include links in the show notes to a lot of articles and videos that we've created on each of those forms. So if you want to learn more about this form, simply go to our website, teachmepersonalfinance.com, type in IRS Form 8859, and you'll see our article. You can type in any tax form and you should see the article that we've written about that specific tax form. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We strive to answer at least one tax question per day with our videos. So if you think this is useful, please share this with your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, or if there's a specific topic that you would like me to do a video on, please hit me up in the show notes and send in a comment. Try to answer everything, every question to the best of my ability, or point you in the right direction if I can't answer it myself. So with that said, thank you very much and have a great day.